Hello, hello. I'm Strider, your host here at Author in the Headlights, and I want to thank you for joining us. And this morning we have Linda with us. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm just fine. Now, Linda is a Texas girl, and you write as Lyn Horner. Is that correct?
Right. hmm
All right. And you've got actually a lot of books out there, something like 15 or so. And you've
More than
got a
that.
more than that.
Yeah. I
Crazy.
think I have 17 individual books, and then I have some box sets on top of that.
That's true. That is true. Now you've got, let me see, Texas Devlins. That's like a
Mhm.
4+1 kind of book set. And that is, well, Irish immigrant in the Old West. Isn't that basically
Right.
how that
Yeah.
writes?
They're siblings, three siblings who head west after the Great Chicago Fire.
And that's a fun set. It just is. And so let me see, you've got Romancing the Guardians. That's a big set, like 8 books,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's got 8 books in it. They're not real big books, but it's a saga. And have has prophecies that they're guarding that have been handed down from ancient Irish druids.
Uh-huh. And that is a little bit of paranormal, steamy
Yeah,
romance, suspense.
it is, and each one has a special um, psychic ability. So, and they use those abilities to guard the prophecies.
All right. Well, that sounds cool. And they've got some pretty interesting titles too. Rescuing Laura,
Mm.
Decoding
Michaela.
Michaela, Capturing Gabriel, Touching Charlotte. You've got on and on. I mean, you've got 8 of those. Paranormal, steamy romance and suspense. Actually, that sounds like a ton of fun to read.
It's a what we would call a cross genre,
Hmm.
mixed genre. That's
Which
what I
what I
like to
write.
do,
Yeah,
you know.
good. And then you've got another set now that you are still writing as one just came out, I think, the Rendezvous series,
The Legendary Rendezvous series, yes.
the
It's a
legendary
time
Rendezvous
travel.
series, a time
It's a time
travel.
travel
That's right,
series, yes.
My Voyager and My Scoundrel. That's a fairly recent release, isn't it?
Yes, yes. My Scoundrel came out in early January.
Just released then.
Yeah.
Good.
And now I'm plotting a third book, which I haven't decided a title for yet.
Well, and sometimes that happens. I remember I was already into publishing and had the cover done and everything, and we changed title.
Yeah.
It happens. It does. So what is the Legendary Rendezvous series about other than time travel?
Well, yes, it's time travel. The first one, My Voyager, is about a pirate or um, a buccaneer, whatever you want to call him,
Hmm.
who is sent forward in time 200 years to 1895 Galveston before the big earthquake in 1900, when Galveston was at the height of its popularity and a great seaport for people entering the United States. The second book, My Scoundrel, is about a woman from the future who travels back in time about 200 years, searching for information that will lead to a cure for a disease that is decimating the human race in her future time.
In your time.
And she meets well, he's a little bit of a scoundrel. He's not really bad, but he's French Creole from New Orleans, and they will end up in New Orleans. That's where most of the story takes place.
And hence the title, My Scoundrel. That makes
Yes.
sense to me. That works.
The third book is going to be set in the time of Pancho Villa. It will involve another traveler from the future, farther in the future, who travels back in time to the era of Pancho Villa, and it will be set in El Paso, Texas.
All right. Now there you go. See, there's that Texas girl coming out again.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm not originally from Texas, but I've lived here a long time.
All right. Now, with all of these books, you're obviously not new to writing, but how do you go about it? See, Author in the Headlights is both for readers and writers. The
Sure.
readers get to find their next good read, and for writers, we get to pick up little tips of the trade on how those published authors get what they've got. Now, when you're writing, how do you go about making your plot? Do you have a particular method or manner?
Well, I have a vague idea in mind to start with, and I do roughly plot out the story. I'm a plotter as opposed to a pantser, who
Hmm.
is someone who just goes by the seat of their pants. I have
Absolutely.
never been able to do that. I got to know where I'm going with the plots. And then I research. I do a lot of research on the time period and the settings for my books.
Hmm.
If I can just mention a book that I'm really proud of, it's a standalone story. It's called Rebel Mine. It's set in Ireland in 1798 at the time of a great rebellion against British rule. And that book, while it hasn't sold a lot, but it has garnered some really nice reviews and won uh, a highly recommended badge.
You do have awards out there. You've got probably at least five that I can think of off the top of my head. It means you write well. That's
I
good.
had one lady, she's from a book club that I go to in Dallas. She loved the Romancing the Guardian series. She said she read all 8 books straight through. She couldn't quit.
Oh, we like that kind.
Yeah, so I liked hearing that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, do you have any particular tools of the trade you use? Things the way you write?
I use the internet for a lot of my research these days, although I have collected hundreds of books. In my office, there are bookshelves around the room, and
You're
there's
a
a lot
reader,
of,
absolutely.
I like to handle a book sometimes when I'm doing research.
So, what do you have coming up next? You've got a book three of the Legendary
Yeah,
Rendezvous series. Now,
yeah, I want to do that. And then I would really like to do a spin-off from Rebel Mine that would feature one of the secondary characters. He's a Scotsman, and he's going to go home to Scotland.
now there's a difference. You're going to Scotland, not Ireland. Aha.
Yeah, I thought I'd give it a whirl, Scotland. So I thought I'd
Mhm.
try it.
All right.
And I really like that character. He's kind of a character. He is a character.
Well, it's amazing how these creations that we come up with in our mind actually take on a character themselves and how they
Oh, yes,
grow and they become a thing. They honestly do
they
as we
sure
write
do.
them. Mhm.
The further I go into writing the book, the more I come to know those characters and they grow on me.
The more character development we do, and the
Yes.
more our readers get into it also. They become somebody not just for you, but for your readers, because then they come back. They do that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I hope so.
yep. So you've got Texas Devlins, Romancing the
Hmm.
Gardens, the Legendary Rendezvous series, A Rebel
Yeah,
Mine. And then you've got
yeah.
another one that's a little off the rank. What about Six Cats in Your Kitchen?
That's a memoir.
Oh, that's a memoir. Well, yeah.
Yeah. I think I published it around 2011 or something first. Then I redid it a little bit later, so it's in its second edition now. It's a memoir about my life, my family at that time, and about the 6 cats
And the cats.
that we had. They are the stars of the show, but I delve into well, cross-country moves with kids and cats, which can be a real chore.
Yep, yep, yep.
And I also deal with the loss of parents and grief and living with a debilitating neurological disease, which I have. And sadly, I passed it on to my daughter. It's the saddest thing in my life that I passed it on.
Your books, by the way, are will be found at DurhamPublishing.com's bookstore. People can look it up there, or they can look you up online at lynhorner.com.
Yes.
Lyn Horner's Corner. I like that. It's got a real ring to it.
Yeah. I got that from my dad. His name was George, and he was a salesman, and his friends called him Jack. Little Jack Horner,
Got
sat in the
it.
corner.
Sat in the corner. Well, Lynn, Linda, both. I want to thank you for spending some time with us this morning.
I enjoyed
And
it.
I enjoyed it too. And for those of you out there listening, I want to thank you for spending your time with us too here at Author in the Headlights, sponsored by DurhamandPublishing.com. And thank you for being with us.
Thank you.